Welcome to this edition of Blind Grillin'. I'm Chris Peltz, and today we're going to be talking about the best ways to lift the convector, or better known as the plate setter, out of a large big green egg. And what I've got before me are at least 4 options, things that I use, have used, and we'll be talking about which ones I'm sticking with now and why I've moved away from one or the other. But first of all, let's very quickly talk about the plate setter itself. If you want to come over and look inside the large egg itself, what I want you to notice, first of all, there's been a few design changes, not only in the plate setter itself, but the top ring that it sets on. And for the new plate setter, because of some of the rounded sides, that's made a big change. Prior to that change, I was using this far option. Let me reach across here. I was using this particular option to lift the plate setter. And I used this for over a year, and I really loved this system for a couple of reasons. One of which is when I pick up the plate setter out of the egg and set it down, it kind of acted as a trivet underneath as you put it in and twist it. The new design doesn't really work well with this, but not only does the new design not work well, what I found is over time this became very weak and it began to sag. And one of the reasons I have the new design plate setter is I went to pick the plate setter up and this had sagged so much that the plate setter slipped out and broke. So I had a plate setter for over 10 years and with no issues, and finally, after using this for a year, it gave enough that it broke. So I don't necessarily recommend this one plus unless you've got an old plate setter, but I realize it will become weak and you might have some issues. The other option is by smokeware. Many people are familiar with the smokeware caps that go on top of the egg. This works fairly well. You've got to get in and keeping in mind I'm blind and can't see exactly where it's at. And then you've got to turn it. Again, this can work great. It's very sturdy, very steady as you lift that up. But here's one of the other problems that I found with this particular design, especially since they redesigned that particular plate setter. On that top ring, the plate setter is kind of designed to set down into those grooves. And when it's down in those grooves, there's no way that this is going to fit down in it's a lot more difficult to get down in there, if at all. And so if you are really wanting your plate setter to be in those grooves of that top ring, the smokeware lifter really falls short in that. Of course, there's always a good set of gloves, right? You can always get, these are Pit Paws. I'm telling you, I use Pit Paws for almost everything. They're a cotton, high heat resistant glove, but they also have some silicone pad on the fingers and on the palms, and I can lift an extremely hot cast iron, salt rocks, the plate setter. These things work amazing, and pizza stones, all that stuff. These gloves work great inside in the kitchen, for the oven. Plus you get your dexterity with your fingertips. They're called Pit Paws. Actually find these at Bass Pro for $20 a pair, which I think are great. We provide these to all of our blind grilling packages. So that's probably one of the options that a lot of people like. They'll say welding gloves, which, you know, welding gloves will work, but even when I try to use welding gloves, they get a little bit hot if you got to hold something very long. These held up a lot better than even the welding gloves I found. Final option is by Kick-Ash Basket. And Chad has come up with this design, a Kick-Ash basket, and I think it is one of the better options for if you're not going to use gloves for lifting the plate setter out of the egg. It just simply, especially with the new design, again, you're going to have problems if you drop it into those grooves. So if we go ahead and start off where I usually do, is right up there out of the grooves. Not only does this also allow for more airflow, it makes it a lot easier for grabbing hold of that plate setter. And there it is. It's as simple as that. And then you pick it up and you're good to go. You can carry it around. You can do whatever you want with it. Set it down. And it's super simple to grab. It's super sturdy. I have a little bit of paranoia. I almost wish this was a little bit further in, but even with my own paranoia, I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So Kick-Ass Basket is doing a great job for the plate setter lifter or the convector lifter. I think they've got the best option, the simplest, the easiest when it comes to lifting the plate setter out of a large big green egg. If you got an extra large, I would say this. I'm a little hesitant because of the size and the weight of the XL. It probably works fine, but if I was going to use this with the XL, I would probably want to get two and do one on each end and lift it out like that. But check out all of these options. I think you'll find one that works for you. If you've got the newer plate setter or convector, the way it's designed and on those rings, I think the Kick-Ass Basket is probably going to be one of the better options for you. Thanks for watching Blind Grilling, folks. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/blindgrilling. We are at Blind Grilling on Instagram and Twitter and all the other places that you can find us. And remember, if you're looking, you ain't cooking.